Hello listeners, welcome to MHT Conversation. मेरा नाम राधिका है and I'm one of the founding partners at Mental Health Today. And today I have with me a fellow psychologist, the founder of Listen Works, and somebody who is currently practicing in the mental health field. So सबसे पहले I would like to welcome Ms. Pooja Dhedia on Mental Health Conversation.
Thank you, Rajika, for having me here today.
Welcome. So today, I think I'd just like to little bit talk about the topic that we will be covering. So to all our listeners, today we have brought you a very exciting edition in what is Gestalt therapy. So I know बहुत लोग जानते हैं कि थेरेपी प्रैक्टिस करते हैं एंड थेरेपी में जाना चाहिए, काउंसलिंग करनी चाहिए, बट वो एक्चुअली में होता क्या है? What exactly entails in therapy? तो बहुत बहुत डिफरेंट टाइप की थेरेपीज होते हैं, लोग अलग अलग टाइप्स ऑफ थेरेपीज प्रैक्टिस करते हैं. अगर आप किसी भी साइकोलॉजिस्ट की प्रोफाइल को देखो, so there will be some sort of specializations written under the profile. You know, there will be a Gestalt therapist, there will be a CBT therapist, there will be an REBT therapist. So इस confusion को दूर करने के लिए कि ये सब कुछ होता क्या है, and जिसे कि doesn't sound like gibberish when you're actually trying to book a session, MHC is now trying to get to you different therapists from different fields, where they will come and talk about their therapies, about their practice, and how it can help us as a community. So आज का topic where we will be talking about therapy is Gestalt therapy. So सबसे पहले पूजा, since you know about this, so can you tell us a little bit about what is Gestalt therapy? ये होता क्या है?
So Gestalt therapy, first, I would like to say, was developed by a psychologist called Fritz Perl, along with his wife, Laura Perl. So the term Gestalt means whole. So if you translate that term, it means whole. So the Gestalt therapy also tries to integrate the individual to become whole. Let me break it down a little bit of what this means. In Gestalt, there's a common saying called, a person is more than a sum of its parts. If I say that, I'm a psychologist, so I have certain skills to practice that field, to practice in that field. Again, I'm teaching psychology, so I'm a professor of psychology. So I have a different set of skills to follow, or to be in that profession. Also, I'm an artist, so I have different qualities and skills to practice my art.
Right.
Along with that, the place where I practice all these professions will also shape me in a particular way.
Right.
So if you integrate all this together, like the various parts in myself and also the environment together, it will make me who I am as a whole.
Right. Right.
And also all the qualities that come up as a whole are very different than those individual parts.
Right.
So that's the basic understanding of what whole or Gestalt means. Also, the other understanding could be awareness about our inner world and the outer world.
Okay, so what do you mean by this inner world and outer world? Just so our listeners can understand.
Yeah. So inner world is actually, it comprises of a lot of things. So it can be everything from your emotions, from your thoughts, from your beliefs, from your movements, from your verbal expression, non-verbal expression, also the positive self or the negative aspect of yourself. So all these together can become your inner world. And the outer world is, of course, something that is in the environment. So also how you are behaving, what role you are playing while corresponding in the environment, and how others are responding to you. So all this together sums up as inner world and outer world, and awareness basically of both these aspects of inner and outer world will make you whole.
Can you give me an example? अगर हम, if you want to try to look at it from a perspective of somebody who's not aware about these terms, तो हम कैसे इस चीज को explain करेंगे?
Okay, I talked about positive. So if I give you an example of inner world, like the positive and the negative aspects of yourself, and your
Hmm.
basic goal is to accept all these aspects of yourself. So you may describe yourself as hardworking or punctual, but we refrain from describing ourselves as mean or someone who experiences jealousy,
Right.
but it's not that these emotions or these qualities are not present in us. It's universal and it's present in each and every one of us.
Right.
But we keep on pushing away these negative sides of ourselves. Like, oh,
Right.
I'm not mean. I don't get
Hmm.
jealous.
Right.
Um, so if we start accepting these negative aspects along, because they are a part of you,
Right.
and in the process of not accepting, you're rejecting a part of yourself,
Hmm.
so which will make you fragmented, or you are not becoming whole basically.
Right. So I think what I've understood is key sometimes we just break away from some of our own aspects. It might be, internal or external, like inner or outer fields. And we somehow, let's say, choose to look at certain aspects, choose not to look at certain aspects. And that kind of, you know, as you rightly said, fragments us in some way where, we're not able to understand on where is this particular stemming from or where is this particular thought coming from. तो इसी पे like you were just talking about कि positive aspects होते हैं negative aspects होते हैं तो क्या आप थोड़ा सा उसके बारे में और बता सकते हो what would come under positive aspects and what would actually come under negative aspects.
Okay. So in a way, there's nothing called positive or negative. Like, these are just terms for us to describe things.
Right.
Uh, but we can understand it in terms of polarities. So
Okay.
everything around us has two dimensions, like good or bad. I am capable, I'm not capable. I am lovable, I'm not lovable. I'm hardworking, I'm lazy. So
Right.
in order to describe ourselves, we'll pick one set of qualities, like one side of the pole, and we'll reject the other side of the pole
Other
that
side.
is there.
Right.
Uh, so in this process of sticking to one side, we become rigid,
Right.
and the flow and the fluidity in our personality misses away.
Correct.
Also, like, if I say that I am very independent, and but
Hmm.
I will deny those parts of myself which crave for dependence, or some sort of support. So you're
Right.
neglecting some of your needs also in the
Right.
process of neglecting one part, or neglecting one part of the whole. So,
Right.
that is how we can distinguish, because for that side of the pole becomes negative for us, and that is why we don't want to go on that side of the
Right. Correct. So, Pooja, how does one get such awareness? As you said, ki this is how I would say that this is how our thinking works. And it is usually seen in a lot of us if we actually self-respect, introspect or something. We are choosing to ignore certain elements of our own personality and the way we behave. So, how can one actually bring awareness to this whole concept of one's inner world?
Okay. Would you like to try something out?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, like, I would be just asking you a few basic questions, and even anyone who's listening to it can try it for themselves as well.
Right.
So, if I ask you, Rajika, how are you feeling right now?
Okay. Right now, I'm feeling quite intrigued and curious because we're discussing a particular sort of therapy, and I do not practice Gestalt. So, if anybody knows me, I practice REBT. So, I'm feeling quite curious and intrigued on what it is and how its applications actually help us. So, I'm also trying to a little bit introspect on the different sides of me that I don't choose to look at. So yeah, I think I would say if I have to name it, I would say I'm kind of feeling curious.
Okay. And can you try uh, try helping me understand where in your body are you feeling this emotion?
Where in my body I'm
Yeah.
feeling this. Okay, that's a tough one. I've never really thought about it like that. Maybe somewhere around my forehead. I think that's where it kind of manifests from. I'm
Okay.
guessing.
Um, I'll take that as wherever you're feeling is different.
Okay.
And is this feeling trying to uh, tell you something, or is it trying to address you with something?
In what way? Address me in which manner?
So you're feeling curious. What does feeling curious mean to you?
Okay. Maybe on some levels to, let's say, be a little more knowledgeable, because I know I've done this in my own therapy when we self introspect, that I feel that you know I am sometimes lacking in self awareness, and I feel like I have to constantly push myself to be up to date in the field and be up to date with the techniques that are happening, and like just know what's happening in the field so that I can help my clients better, because sometimes I take personal responsibility on in getting my clients better and helping them see different perspectives of what is troubling them. So maybe this curiosity is actually a reflection on I think me myself as a therapist also.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, yeah, somewhere on those lines.
So you're feeling curious, and this uh, is fulfilling your need of wanting to be more knowledgeable and up to date in your field.
Right, right,
And you're feeling these sensations somewhere in your forehead, in that
right,
area of the forehead.
right.
That's really great to know. So what I tried right now was to just make you aware about what is going on presently with you.
Right,
Like, what are you feeling, and where in this body is this feeling, and what is this feeling, trying to tell you.
right,
So, this is just a very small thing for, understanding what is going inside our inner world.
right, right. Wow, I think that's kind of intimate to understand this. So, like Pooja, I know you started with saying that Gestalt means whole. So now we have kind of understood this. Like we did the small exercise, we tried to understand these feeling aspect and the body aspect. So, uh, can you tell me a little bit about what can come in the way of actually becoming this whole that you are mentioning? What can be the obstacles? What can be some of the hurdles?
Yeah, so definitely there are a few hurdles. So, like, so as I said earlier, like if we lack awareness in terms of our inner world and the outer world, that can be one of the hurdles. The other hurdle could be unfinished business.
Okay.
So I will try elaborate on what unfinished business means.
Yeah.
So unfinished business means that there are some experiences in the past that have not been resolved, and this unresolved experience generates a lot of unresolved feelings within us, like anger, guilt, shame, all these kind of
Okay.
things get generated, and they keep coming back to us, like even though we want to kind of stop them from interfering in our life, if they
Yeah.
don't stop coming to us, like interfering within our daily lives, so which implies that there's something stuck in the past that is interfering with your present.
Right.
If I okay let me try give you an example so it will help you understand better.
Right.
So if I say, I was bullied during my school days, and whenever uh, people ask me to describe about how my school days are, I would very mindfully, I would say, avoid talking about this part of where I was bullied, because of
Right.
course it's a very painful memory for me, and it generates a lot of unpleasant feelings inside me.
Right.
So, like, my way of blocking is to just not talk about it at all, or just press it. Okay, this happened, but I'm choosing to ignore it because I don't like this part of
Right.
my childhood.
Right.
So of course, everybody does that, and it's very natural of this process to happen.
Right.
But while trying to suppress and block this memory inside us, what we are
Hmm.
doing is like we want to neglect that part of our childhood, and in a way it is your childhood again, and this experience also belongs to you. So you are again neglecting one small part of yourself.
Right.
So
Right.
as I said, neglecting aspects of yourself then later, become the hurdle in your growth. So, like the Gestalt therapist would, try to resolve these unfinished business for their clients.
So can you tell us a little bit more about, I understand the whole unfinished business concept. I think it is there, and almost everybody would feel some aspect or the other, which is, which can come under the umbrella heading of unfinished business. So can you tell us a little bit more about how a Gestalt therapist in specific would try to, help the client resolve this unfinished business?
Yeah. So like there are various ways, techniques in Gestalt therapy that a counselor can use. But like one of the very famous or very well researched and the effective, I would say, is something called as empty chair. I guess
Right.
many of us have studied this concept of empty chair. Uh,
Right.
so basically, like what happens in this technique is, there's a chair opposite you, which is empty, and
Right.
you call in, various aspects of yourself which you neglected, or it can even be used to, it can be, we can even address some individual in the past
Right.
that had some impact on your present. So anything can be called up, something that was not resolved earlier. So
Right.
you can have a conversation with that aspect or with that individual in with the goal in the mind that you will resolve that conflict now.
Okay.
So
All
in
right.
this process, you are finishing that unfinished business.
Right. So I think just one disclaimer I would like to give here that please do not try this without the help of a therapist who's trained in taking empty chair.
Definitely.
I have seen, this technique going wrong tremendously if you don't know what you're doing and you just, you just get stuck in a spiral. So I would say, please, if you do want to try an empty chair technique, it really works, but get your therapist, choose your therapist to somebody who's actually trained in gestalt therapy and would be able to help you through this. So that is, I think, one disclaimer I would like to give on this technique because I've seen it to be very, very emotionally draining.
Yes, that's really absolutely correct. That's
Mhm. Right. So, I think I can see how, like let's say gestalt therapy is so different and so unique from other therapeutic approaches. So I'm just kind of thinking it from how different it is from REBT, which what I practice. So can you, let's say, maybe explain us with the help of a small example or something on how gestalt is so different from mainly all the other therapies that are there?
Yeah. Okay. So the example could be that individual X is fearful of performing on stage, and
Right.
thinks that he will be made fun of, and therefore avoids performing on stage.
Right.
So I will try addressing three different approaches via this example.
Okay.
The first one, of course, because you're talking about Gestalt, so I start with Gestalt. So Gestalt comes from the humanistic school,
Hmm.
and the humanistic school, the goal or what they believe in is that each and every individual wants to grow emotionally, psychologically, and is always striving for self-actualization.
Right.
So even Gestalt tries to achieve the same goal through integrating the individual. So Gestalt believes that through integration, the individual can reach that goal of self-actualization.
Okay.
In this case, what a Gestalt therapist might try is it might try to go deep as to when this fear first started, or which was the previous unfinished business that is currently hindering or leading the client to become fearful of this current situation. So
Right.
Gestalt will go and try to know the basic roots of from where it generated, and that is how they try to address this issue.
Right.
Moving on to the next approach, if I take the behavioral approach,
Hmm.
again the behavioral school believes that all our behaviors are learned behaviors, because of course
Right.
when you are a child you see what is around you and you pick up all those behaviors.
Right.
Uh, so that approach would try to focus on the behavior, current behavior that the client is expressing. So whether they're shivering too much, or whether the heart rate is hiking. So it
Right.
tries the present outward behavior that they are displaying. Uh,
Right.
so the behavioral school would try modifying those behaviors by putting in some other replaceable behavior. So they might put some relaxation techniques, or guide the client to use relaxation techniques while approaching the stage.
Right. Right.
So that is how they are modifying their behavior. If I
Hmm.
go with cognitive aspect, like REBT comes under the cognitive behavior. So like
Right.
cognitive school, of course, focuses on our thoughts and our beliefs.
Right.
So that school would try understanding, what thoughts are getting generated when the client is seeing the stage, and
Right.
what beliefs the client carries, and whether these beliefs and thoughts are rational or irrational, and is
Right.
there any evidence to the rationality or the irrationality, and then they
Right.
would try modifying that thought,
Correct.
so and bring about resolving the issue. But yeah, I would like to say that no therapy is good or bad or correct or incorrect.
Correct.
Like it's very subjective to the client, the need of the client, and of course the therapeutic orientation of the therapist.
Correct. I think that is there, obviously, so many different approaches, and you never know which one, there is no concrete evidence that can say that this is a approach that is going to help with such a client and such a case. So, of course, we have to just keep evolving ourselves in order to be better therapists.
Yeah.
So, Pooja, I think we're about to come to the end because I'm kind of running out of questions because you're explaining everything so well. So, just lastly, I want to ask you, let's say, a couple of one or two more questions. I just want to ask you, are there any specific disorders or specific concerns where you feel gestalt therapy can be really effective with? So, as I was saying, are there any specific disorders or specific concerns where, gestalt can be super effective and, this should be the go-to therapy? Aisa kuch hai?
Yeah, so like research has shown us that gestalt therapy is effective with personality disorders, somatoform disorders, eating disorders, substance abuse disorders, and also like has a wide applicability in areas where there are emotional concerns like
Hmm.
trauma or stigma or
Hmm.
shame. So
Right.
it has been effective in all those areas.
Right. I think it sounds really fun. So, can you tell me a little bit about your personal experience with Gestalt? Has, let's say, learning Gestalt helped you as a therapist and, learning this whole wide variety of techniques? Do you think it has helped you evolve as a therapist?
It definitely has. So I can see the change in myself before I took the course and after the course. So the course was an experiential course where all the techniques like were applied to me where I was the client. So
Right.
I got an understanding of what the client experience when we are like you are in that chair.
Right.
um, and also like there were very unique aspects about gestalt that they taught the gestalt therapy taught me a lot about how, there are two poles, and how we try to stick to one pole, and how we might forget what our needs are, or what our present feelings are. So, and how unfinished business can be a hurdle, or even how rejecting certain aspects of ourselves can be a hurdle. It
Right.
gave a very good mixture of, understanding and experience uh, that helped.
And what about personally? Personally, did it help you in personal life?
Yeah, definitely. So, I now know that, what unfinished business I have to address, or, which polarities, I get stuck on, and,
Right.
it has helped me work through all, my patterns of responding to people. So it has
Right.
brought a lot about change and awareness, in my own personality as a whole.
Right. Definitely. I think it sounds very interesting. So, Pooja, कोई limitations हैं इसके? Are there any limitations on which clients should try Gestalt, or with what sort of specific issues can you try Gestalt?
So limitations, I would say that it might not be very effective with cognitive disorders, like those who have severe cognitive problems, or even impulse control problems like delinquents and antisocial uh,
Right.
personalities, and also like it is sometimes debated that it concentrates too much on the feeling aspect, and it might neglect the cognitive aspect, or the cognitive aspect of our personality. So yeah,
Right.
I guess there are a few limitations.
Right. So I think I am personally getting a little bit intrigued on, in order to understand Gestalt a little more and learn Gestalt a little more. And I'm pretty sure there will be other therapists also who are listening to this and would like, want to know more and learn it themselves also if possible. So can you tell us a little bit about the resources for Gestalt, or what should we try to study first, and, what should the step be like?
So like anybody looking to experience, or get, because Gestalt is in a way a therapy that might not be comprehensible by just reading books.
Right.
So it would be a good idea for anyone to take a course if they want to understand Gestalt better.
Right.
And one of, like, you all can check out the course that I did. Like it's from the organization called Psych Phoenix. It's based in
Okay.
Mumbai. You can check that out, and even if you all want to just start to know, what Gestalt is, so like, well, some very basic concepts are nicely explained in the book of Theories of Counseling and Psychotherapy by Linda Seligman and Laurie Richard.
Right. Okay. I think I have, kind of read this book, and I think I have it also. So both these resources ka link I will be attaching in the description below. So anybody who's interested in, knowing more can just click on the link to Psych Phoenix, which is based out of Mumbai, or this book, which you can buy online and have a good read and a good experience of understanding this search. So, Pooja, I think that gets us to the end of this discussion, and I think it has been very informational. And I think I'm kind of losing my mind on how great this therapy can actually be and how I can learn so much from it. So, I think one last thing I want to, let's say, do an activity, and then maybe we can sign off. So, is there any self-help activity or something or technique that you can, share with us and our listeners that we can do at home?
Okay. So okay, so what everybody can try is, like, you can try taking a piece of paper and sit down and try describing yourself with a list of adjectives about who you are. And
Okay.
after you've done that, you write the opposites of those adjectives. Okay,
Okay.
and then try assessing whether you display those opposites also. Okay.
Okay.
So if I'm just this activity would help you understand your polarities.
Right.
So
Right.
you
So
can
to
try
all our
that.
listeners, Yes, to all our listeners, please do take a piece of paper, write 10 adjectives. Let's say
Yes.
start with 10 adjectives that you would like to say that defines you. And then once when you're done with the 10, let's get an opposite set of adjectives also written on the other column. And we can then try to assess on whether we show the opposites or not, and what intensity, what familiarity we have with those opposites. So we might be able to get an understanding. So this is something that I'm going to try immediately after this session. So at the end, I just want to say thank you so much, Pooja, for coming and talking about Gestalt. It was a beautiful session, and I personally feel I've learned a lot.
Thank you, Radhika, for bringing this place where you call upon therapists to talk about various topics. I guess mental health today is a great initiative and like doing a really good job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And to all our listeners, if you feel you want to try Gestalt therapy, if you feel that this is something you can give a try and it might help you feel better, please do contact Miss Pooja here. Her details are there in the description below. Her profile is also there on the mental health directory. Do go check out, talk to her, book an appointment. It might actually help. Until then, this is Rajika signing off, and I will be bringing you another episode in the therapeutic series very soon. Thank you.
Thank